My son's about to start school next year. That would be stressful for anyone. But how would you feel if you realize that the school you're about to send your kid to was rated 3 out of 10 according to Great Schools? Let's calm down a little bit because I've done my research and I'm actually excited about this new school for me. I've talked to a bunch of parents who have kids in this school now and have had kids in the school previously, and they all rave about the education here. They rave about their experience and their kids' experience too. And that's the thing about school in Cincinnati. It's probably the thing about schools in every city, but it's definitely the thing here because it will come down to more than just numbers published by a website when it comes to your kid's education. Whether you're new to Cincinnati or you're just trying to figure out what's the best decision for your family, this video will cover everything you need to know before you send your kids to school anywhere in the Cincinnati area. We're going to cover decisions like public versus private education. We'll cover the Montessori system. I'll give you the top-rated school districts in the area as well as the top-rated private schools in the area. And even quirks you may have never even expected. Let's get into it. But before we do, if you're watching this video, you probably care about life in Cincinnati, and that's what we cover on this video. As a realtor in Cincinnati, I'm always looking into information for my clients about all sorts of different topics. But I focus this channel on the most important topics around Cincinnati. That's just something that I do for free to help everyone out there in the Cincinnati area. So again, if you're watching this video, you're probably gonna like the other videos we produce. So click subscribe and click the bell to make sure you're not missing this valuable content in the future. And of course, if you're planning to move, I'd love to hear from you. All my contact information is in this video description. But on to everything you need to know about schools in Cincinnati. I think this is the most surprising thing in Cincinnati, and the reason being is in a lot of areas this really isn't a typical education model. Cincinnati relies heavily on the Montessori system. In fact, we have the largest Montessori education system in the country. Montessori is a teaching method that emphasizes independence, hands-on learning, and most interestingly to me, mixed age classes. It's less about standardized tests and more about encouraging lifetime learning. Cincinnati Public Schools offers several Montessori options. This is going through pre-K all the way through 12th grade in Cincinnati. Clark Montessori, for example, covers 7th grade through 12th. And this is actually one of the first public Montessori high schools in the country. Many of the neighborhood schools in the Cincinnati public schools are Montessori system schools. While some of the high schools and schools covering older students are more of a traditional model, there still are those Montessori schools for those high school years. Many of those, though, are kind of a lottery system. You might want to plan ahead before high school if that's where you're trying to keep your kid in the Montessori system. All right, and another thing I found really interesting is the private school system in the Cincinnati area. Obviously, everyone is familiar with private school. I think every city and every region has private school options. Cincinnati has a lot of private school options. In fact, private school is very common among all sorts of income levels. And there are many reasons why Cincinnati families are choosing private schools. Those reasons can range from religious reasons, academic preference, and even just family tradition. And here are some of the most highly regarded private schools. So St. Xavier High School is an all-boys Jesuit. It's an academically rigorous school, massive alumni network. Summit Country Day, this is a Catholic co-ed school. It's college prep from preschool all the way through 12th grade. Ursuline Academy is an all-girls Catholic affiliated school. They've got strong academics and strong extracurriculars as well. Seven Hill School. This is a secular option if you're looking for private school without the religious affiliation. It is co-ed, it's known for academic excellence and college placement. Cincinnati Country Day is an independent, they're known for their small class sizes, strong academics, and located in Indian Hill. Moeller High School is a really well-known school in the area because they're well-known for their academics and for sports. It's an all-boys school and it's Catholic affiliated. Mount Notre Dame, all-girls school, Catholic affiliation, known for its supportive environment and college readiness. So if private school is your thing, you do have plenty of Catholic options and some secular options as well, but there are options all across the region geographically. Another interesting quirk is some of the magnet schools, and these are public schools, but it might take a lottery or testing to get your kid in them. They're not necessarily affiliated with a specific neighborhood. These magnet schools typically have a specific focus. Some examples of their specific focus would be things like particular academic focus, arts, gifted learning, or international studies. They're open to any student in the CPS system, but many require applications and some are really selective. The most well-known magnet school in Cincinnati is Walnut Hills High School. In fact, this is one of the highest rated high schools in all of Ohio. It's a grade 7 through 12 school. Admission to Walnut Hills requires your student to pass a standardized entrance exam. And you won't be surprised, demand is really high, especially getting in for 7th grade. But let's say your student is more arts leaning. We have an excellent school for that as well. Most notably SCPA, which is the School for Creative and Performing Arts. This is a K through 12 school. They have auditions and programs like dance, music, and theater. Other standout options would be the Spencer Center, that's for gifted and exceptional learners, Dater and Gamble Montessori, which is blending magnet and the Montessori models, and Rising Stars Early Learning Academics for preschool. If you're interested in any of these specific schools or any other magnet schools, you're going to want to plan ahead because there are particular deadlines, there are admissions requirements, and you're going to want to know those well before those deadlines. All right, maybe you are looking for public schools and you might be choosing where to live just to be in the right public school system. So here's a breakdown of some of the top public schools on both sides of the river. I pulled these lists based on some of the schools that we see on like niche.com as well as Great Schools. So these are just coming from different rankings. I'm not just telling you like, oh, I like this school and I don't like that school. So there's a little bit more going into it, but obviously you want to do all of your own research to know exactly what school you want your kids to go to. But let's go through them. Indian Hill School, this is often ranked as the #1 school in the entire state. And that's really saying something in a state like Ohio. I don't think everyone, especially if you're moving from outside, thinks of it this way, but Ohio's a really big state. And we have 3 large cities. Now, granted, they're not LA and New York, but like these are large cities. If you would put them in any state in the country, they would be notable cities for those states. It's a small school, elite, and very well funded. It's one of the wealthiest areas in the Cincinnati region. Madeira, they have great schools. It's a tight-knit community, great academics, and it's a great option if you're looking to live in the Madeira area. The Marymount School District offers small, walkable schools that are really high performing. Wyoming schools are known for high academic standards and they are very community centric. And this goes past the schools in Wyoming. It's a very community oriented neighborhood or town really. It's its own independent town. Mason Schools. This is a large school district. Mason covers a large area, but high academics and a lot of AP offerings. And to round out our list of Ohio schools, we'll get to Kentucky next, we've got Loveland, Milford, and Forest Hill schools. These are all high-performing schools. They're solid school districts and really destination places for a lot of families that are looking to move specifically for a school district. So that's all of our top-rated Ohio schools. I know that there are some missing. I'm sure I'll see in the comments from people that are claiming their school should be on the list, and you're probably right, but we only have limited time on YouTube. I'm happy to discuss further with you directly. But on the Kentucky side of the river, we've got a few great schools as well. I do think people that are moving here from out of state are coming in with their own bias. And they might be coming in with a bias against Ohio. They might be coming in with a bias against Kentucky. In my mind, I think depending on where you live and where you work, you should be looking at both sides because you can really find great communities on both sides of the river. That goes for schools too. You find great schools on both sides of the river as well. So Beechwood, that's in Fort Mitchell. The Beechwood School District is a small, top-rated district. It's often ranked #1 in the state of Kentucky. Fort Thomas Independent School. So you've got Highlands High School in this district. So it's consistently strong academics and great community feel in the Fort Thomas area. Boone County and Kenton County both have strong school districts. These are larger districts with standout schools depending on your location. Great options in both of those counties, which covers a large area. One final note on school districts. These areas can change, and so it's worth paying attention to where are the boundaries. and it can really change from one street to the next. And as I mentioned, change from year to year. Of course, these districts aren't trying to change all the time, but it's something to pay attention to from, is there a planned change? In fact, Cincinnati Public this year has had a lot of changes, and so there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to which schools your students might be assigned to if you're in the Cincinnati Public system. Also, there's a few quirky areas. So for example, in my local school district, which is a Cincinnati Public School District, we have students that are coming in from some of the neighboring towns that are, they're not a part of Cincinnati specifically. You'll notice that a lot in Cincinnati, that we've got these little towns or villages or townships that aren't technically a part of Cincinnati, but they will have kids coming to the Cincinnati schools. It's not just a Cincinnati thing either. So for example, Sycamore School District, which covers Blue Ash, also covers a lot of other areas. You'll have areas like Sycamore Township, Sims Township, and also other parts of Sycamore Township would go to Indian Hill School, which you might be able to get lower taxes in Sycamore School District while still getting the benefit of Indian Hill School. There's a lot of nuance here. This video is meant to give you the basics and really give you the information so you can go find more information. But even better, if you have specific questions, let's talk about it. Reach out to me and we can talk through all of the different areas and what's going to be best for your family. Here's something really unique about Cincinnati schools you might have noticed with several of these schools, these high schools I've talked about. I've said, oh, that's grades 7 through 12. Well, my experience with school, I went to middle school, 7th and 8th grade, and I think now my previous area has 6th through 8th grade in middle school. That's not a thing here in Cincinnati. I think there's a push for changing this a little bit to have some middle schools. This is a product of the Montessori system. Again, it's mixed age classes, so you're not necessarily changing classes from 4th to 5th grade. Most students experience this change from 6th to 7th, but they're going from elementary school to a high school. They're not going to middle school in between. There's a really big benefit here is there's continuity, especially for those Montessori classes where those mixed age classes will keep the students together for multiple years. However, the transition can be a bigger leap for some students. What can really amplify that is, a lot of people will make a decision where they really like their neighborhood public school, and then later they want their kids to go to a private high school. That can be a bigger transition for those kids because it's a really big change in culture. So I don't necessarily think this lack of middle school is a good or a bad thing, but it's something to note because it may impact the way your student learns. All right, and before we wrap up, there's some kind of loose ends, some things that don't really fit into categories that I think are important details that everyone should know. All right, the first of those topics, preschool availability. In fact, when I said my son is going to be going to school next year, it's preschool, but we're still considering it school. He's going to be in a Montessori system, and he's going to be with the same group for multiple years forward, so it's a big step for him. The thing to note about preschool is the seats are limited. You're not guaranteed a spot for preschool in Cincinnati. In fact, we found that out because I started looking into this a little bit too late. So I'm trying to save you from the issue that I ran into this year. Transportation. How are your kids getting to and from school? Well, not all private schools and not all magnet schools are offering transportation for those students. So that's another consideration. If you want your students to go to one of those schools, you might need to arrange for a ride or take them yourself. And that's especially true if you're crossing districts going into a magnet school that's not in your neighborhood. Lastly, on transportation, this goes for preschool too. Locally, my school doesn't offer transportation for preschool. Timing is everything. We covered this a little bit earlier in this video, but you need to know the deadlines. Because if you're missing a deadline or the school fills up, you're going to just be out of luck. You're not going to have that opportunity. You might be able to get on a wait list, but you're not necessarily going to have the opportunity to get your kid into the school you want. And that could even apply to you if you're moving here mid-school year. So it's something to look into before you make the move. Testing and placement, again, we covered this a little bit earlier as well, but it deserves the emphasis on the point that some of these schools require admissions exams. Your kids are going to have to test into the school or they're not going to be accepted. More than just simple exams though, that also might include auditions, especially for a school like SCPA, which focuses on performing arts, or interviews at other schools as well. All right, so Cincinnati's school scene is full of options and full of nuance as well. A school with a 3 out of 10 rating on some website might be the perfect school for your student. I think it's the perfect school for my student, and I think he's rated 10 out of 10. And on the flip side, a top-rated school might not be the best fit for your student as well. The fact that schools like SCPA exist is a testament to there are different types of learning and different focuses for different students. It is a better school for a kid who would be better suited leaning into the arts rather than cooped up at a desk all day. And I love that this Montessori system actually helps with that. It helps with people like myself, who I would describe as having ADHD, or having a way to get away from the desk and have this hands-on learning that I really would think I would have benefited from if I had it when I was a kid. To me, the key is talking to other parents, talking to people who have been through this experience before, ask the right questions, and figure out what matters most to you and your family. Because I'm sure that you're watching this video and I think we're offering a lot of value to you, but what I value is going to be a little bit different than what you value. And so we've designed this video to be a resource for anyone, no matter what you're considering to be the most important topics when you're considering which school to pick. So if you're relocating or your family's growing and you are looking for a new home or a new neighborhood, new school district, I would love to help. This whole channel is made possible based on my day job as realtor. I love that day job because I get to help families every day, every week, find a better way home. I help them find the place that is going to be the best fit for their lifestyle. So if you are looking to make that move, I'd love to hear from you. Go to the show notes, reach out. We've got all of our contact information there. However, I'm here to help anyone. You don't have to be my client for me to help you. So drop a comment, let me know the questions you have. Let me know what I got wrong. Tell me about your school if I got it wrong, or if it's not mentioned and you want people to know about the great school in your area, put that in the comments too. Because I truly believe that Cincinnati is a better place when we're helping each other. And lastly, I have a favor to ask. If this video was helpful to you, hit that like button, share it with a friend that it could be helpful for them as well. And again, click subscribe, click the bell, make sure you're not missing out on other great content like this. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. And better yet, I hope to see you around Cincinnati.